Please, the man whispered, his voice shaking. Don't say a word. The little girl standing beside him tightened her grip on his hand. Across the crowded hospital waiting room, every sound seemed to disappear. The billionaire froze. She had come to the hospital, expecting another routine public appearance, another photo opportunity for the foundation she funded, another round of polite smiles and carefully rehearsed speeches. Instead, she found herself staring into the eyes of a single father who looked exhausted, frightened, and strangely determined. And for the first time in years, she had no idea what to do. 3 hours earlier, Evelyn Carter had been sitting in the back of her chauffeured car, scrolling through financial reports on a tablet worth more than most people's monthly salaries. At 48, she was one of the most successful businesswomen in America. She owned companies. She funded charities. Her name appeared on magazine covers. People described her as brilliant, disciplined, and unstoppable. But very few people described her as happy. Success had given her everything except the one thing she secretly wanted most: genuine human connection. Her schedule left little room for relationships. Her trust had been broken too many times. And somewhere along the way, she had stopped believing that people cared about her beyond her wealth. That morning, her assistant had reminded her about a visit to Children's Memorial Hospital. Evelyn almost canceled. She was tired. But the event had already been announced. So she went. The hospital staff greeted her warmly. Reporters followed at a distance. Parents smiled politely. Everything unfolded exactly as expected. Until she noticed a man sitting alone in a corner. Unlike everyone else, he didn't look at her. Didn't approach her. Didn't seem impressed by who she was. His attention remained focused entirely on the young girl beside him. She couldn't have been older than 7. Her face was pale. A colorful scarf covered her head. Yet despite her obvious illness, she was smiling. Actually smiling. The contrast caught Evelyn's attention. She quietly excused herself from the group and walked toward them. The father noticed her approaching. Instantly, tension filled his face. The little girl looked up. Her eyes widened. "You're Evelyn Carter," she said. Evelyn smiled. "I am." The girl grinned. "My dad says you're the richest lady in America." The father looked horrified. "Emma." "It's okay," Evelyn laughed. "No, it's not," he said gently. Then he turned toward his daughter. "Remember what we talked about?" The little girl nodded. A moment later, she looked back at Evelyn. "Sorry." Evelyn sat beside them. No apology needed. She extended a hand. "I'm Evelyn." The father hesitated before shaking it. "Michael." His handshake was firm but tired. The kind of handshake that came from years of hard work. Not long after, a nurse called Emma's name. Michael stood. Before leaving, he looked directly at Evelyn. And that was when he said the words she would never forget. "Please," he whispered. "Don't say a word." She blinked. "What?" He glanced toward his daughter. "She doesn't know." "Know what?" His eyes lowered. "That we're losing." Then he walked away. The words hit Evelyn harder than she expected. For the rest of the afternoon, she couldn't stop thinking about them. Eventually, curiosity overcame her. She quietly asked a hospital administrator about Michael and Emma. What she learned left her speechless. Emma had a rare form of cancer. Michael had been fighting for her treatment for nearly 2 years. He worked construction during the day, delivered food at night, sold his truck, sold most of his belongings, used every penny of his savings. Yet despite all that sacrifice, the family had reached a point where the next stage of treatment seemed financially impossible. "Has he asked for help?" Evelyn asked. The administrator shook her head. "Never. Not even from charities." "No." "Why?" The woman smiled sadly. "He says there are families worse off than his." Evelyn stared at her. That made no sense. Who refuses help when their child is dying? Yet somehow, that answer made her respect him even more. Over the next several days, she found herself thinking constantly about Michael and Emma. Their faces followed her into board meetings, into interviews, into sleepless nights. Finally, she made a decision. She contacted the hospital and arranged to cover every medical expense, anonymously. Every treatment, every procedure, every medication. No publicity, no press releases, no announcements. Just help. Simple, quiet, human. A week later, however, she received an unexpected phone call. Michael wanted to meet. Confused, Evelyn agreed. When she arrived at the hospital cafe, he was already waiting. He looked uncomfortable, almost angry. Why? He asked immediately. Evelyn knew exactly what he meant. Because your daughter needs help. His jaw tightened. You promised. I never promised anything. I asked you not to say a word. I didn't. He stared at her. The hospital told me someone paid everything. She remained silent. They wouldn't tell me who. Still silent. But I figured it out. The room became quiet. Finally, Michael leaned back. I can't accept it. Evelyn felt frustration rising. Your daughter needs treatment. I know. Then let her have it. His eyes filled with tears. For several moments, he couldn't speak. When he finally did, his voice cracked. You don't understand. Help me understand. He looked down at the table. My wife died 3 years ago. Evelyn listened. Before she passed, she made me promise something. What? That Emma would never feel like a burden. The words hung in the air. Michael continued. I've spent every day trying to keep that promise. His voice broke. If she finds out strangers are paying because I failed. He couldn't finish. For the first time, Evelyn understood. This wasn't pride. This was love. The desperate love of a father trying to protect his daughter's heart. Tears filled her eyes. Then she said something she hadn't expected. What if she never knows? Michael looked up. What? What if this isn't charity? He frowned. I'm listening. Evelyn thought for a moment. Then she smiled. My foundation is launching a children's medical grant program. Is it? It is now. For the first time, Michael laughed. A genuine laugh. The kind that hadn't visited him in years. Months passed. Emma began treatment. Slowly, her health improved. Color returned to her cheeks. Energy returned to her smile. Hope returned to their lives. Throughout it all, Evelyn remained mostly in the background. She visited occasionally. Never as a billionaire. Never as a benefactor. Just as a friend. And something unexpected happened. The lonely billionaire who had spent years surrounded by people but connected to no one, suddenly found herself becoming part of a family. Emma adored her. Michael trusted her. For the first time in years, Evelyn looked forward to weekends. She looked forward to conversations that had nothing to do with business. She looked forward to laughter. 1 year later, the hospital hosted a celebration. Emma's latest scans showed no signs of cancer. The room erupted with cheers. Doctors cried. Nurses hugged one another. Michael dropped to his knees and wrapped his daughter in his arms. Evelyn stood quietly near the back, wiping tears from her eyes. Then Emma broke free from her father's embrace and ran across the room. Straight toward Evelyn. Before anyone could react, she threw her arms around her. I know, Emma whispered. Evelyn froze. Her heart skipped. What do you know? The little girl smiled. Everything. For a second, panic flashed across Evelyn's face. She looked toward Michael. But he wasn't upset. He was smiling. Emma squeezed her tighter. I heard the nurses talking months ago. Evelyn laughed through tears. You did. She nodded. You're the reason I'm here. Evelyn's voice trembled. No, sweetheart. She pointed toward Michael. He's the reason. Emma turned toward her father. Then back toward Evelyn. No. She smiled. Both of you. The room grew quiet. Many people had started listening. Emma took Evelyn's hand. Then she took her father's hand. And she placed them together. My mom used to say that heroes come in different forms. Neither adult could speak. Emma grinned. One fights for you. She squeezed her father's hand. The other shows up when nobody expects it. She squeezed Evelyn's. Tears streamed down faces throughout the room. In that moment, Evelyn realized something profound. For years, she had believed money was her greatest asset. She had been wrong. Money had helped save Emma's life. But kindness had changed 3 lives. Michael's, Emma's, and her own. Because the truth was that she hadn't rescued them. They had rescued her. From loneliness. From isolation. From the empty success she had mistaken for fulfillment. As the celebration continued around them, Michael quietly leaned closer. You know, he said. Evelyn smiled. What? He laughed softly. I'm really glad you didn't listen. She looked at him. To what? His eyes warmed. The day I told you not to say a word. For the first time in a very long time, Evelyn laughed without reservation. And surrounded by hope, gratitude, and the family she never expected to find. She realized that sometimes the most powerful acts of kindness begin with a simple choice. To see someone's pain and refuse to walk away.